I grinded 100 games of Psylocke to work through the struggles of mastering her so you don't have to. Psylocke's a duelist that comes in at a 5-star difficulty. Although this rating comes with great debate, to be good at Psylocke, you gotta be ready to operate at a much faster pace than normal. Maining Psylocke has you feeling like an anime protagonist who's speed blitzing the entire Marvel cast with a flash step. Although not too mainstream of an X-Men hero, this particular version of Psylocke is different from the one portrayed in the movies. This Psylocke is a rendition of a comic more akin to a manga, where Psy is a ninja who hunts down demons in the feudal Japan era. She's kind of like Sango from Inuyasha, except with psychic abilities. She's the embodiment of a ninja. She's pragmatic, focused, and badass. Her fighting style is as fluid as it is precise, and this reflects beautifully in her role in Marvel Rivals. This hero is strong. She has the potential to hard carry, but first, that requires discipline and mastery. Just like her motif as a butterfly, mastering her is like going through a metamorphosis. You start slow, but before you know it, you really start to grow your wings. From character matchups and synergies, all the way to in-game playstyle and game sense breakdowns, we're going to be going over everything I learned in my last 100 games on Psylocke, so you too can spread your wings. Quick disclaimer, this video contains footage before the Season 2.5 nerfs to Psylocke, but during the Part 2 segment, I will be using updated damage outputs to make sure the video isn't outdated. Spoiler alert, she's still going to be good. The rules for the challenge are going to be simple and straightforward. For one, I'm going to be maining Psylocke, and for two, I'm going to be playing ranked only. My starting rank of the challenge is going to be Platinum 1 after the season reset brought me all the way down from Celestial 1. So with that out of the way, let's dive into the first game.
Papers.
Ow, ow, ow.
Motherfucker!
The first portion of my recording got bugged out, but by the time I got it back online, my team and I were on a complete backpedal. The enemy team had a Captain America that was causing havoc, and they were pushing the cart with relative ease. I felt like I was pelting everybody with a pea shooter. Nobody that I was shooting was dying until I finally got my first kill. After that, I got a little confidence, so it was time to do what Psylocks are supposed to do, and that's be a secret ninja assassin.
Oh, thank God.
Killer dead. Safe to say, I was off to a very rocky start. That was 3 entire clips to kill a Cloak and Dagger, by the way. Actually, I didn't even kill her now that I look back at it. It was a penny that finished her off. My damage output was embarrassing. The only thing that I knew about dealing damage on Psylocke at this point was that you gotta weave your shurikens at some point in between your regular primary fire. I just wasn't exactly sure when yet. I was just kind of feeling it out. That's pretty much it. And it shows, because from here on out, I do an impressively bad job at being a DPS.
Get him, Caden.
Where are you at? He's on the ceiling. On the roof.
Come here.
I don't know how I got there.
I'm getting double thinking now. Oh, the third ball. Oh, wait, I got one. I got the healer.
Why did I just do
Oh,
that?
I'm so dead.
Yo, chill!
Wolverine's on the feet. Oh, ow, ow, ow. Oh no, I'm gonna be up. Damn.
Oh, run away.
Oh, good.
Oh, I'm getting
Oh my god!
picked up and fucked.
Oh no. Why? I'm just gonna turn around and one-shot me there. Damn, unfortunate.
And that marks my first half on Psylocke, and at the moment I have one glaring issue. Well, actually multiple, like aim, positioning, ability usage, but ignore all that. My main issue right now is that I'm lacking identity. When I flanked, I got no kills. When I tried frontlining and helping the tanks, I still got no kills. On top of that, each of my ultimates brought zero value because the one time that I actually did kill somebody, we weren't really being threatened by an actual push, so it was pretty much a waste. Rewatching this first game, now that I played 100 matches on her and I feel like I've mastered her, I realized that ever since my magic challenge, I had it in my mind that flanking should be used scarcely as a surprise tactic, and my mindset was completely wrong in this instance, but more on that later.
You wanna go thing?
Me?
Yeah, and you can throw me around.
I'm doing Psylocke.
Lame.
Even my little rat nephew was subtly asking me to change characters, but as a wise man once said,
it became personal with me.
One look at a flash, we drop with a flash. Taking out to the fast. You know me, I'm a tag. Wait, you know what did that? They want more than us. Don't stop me, you tag. What do you can't touch that? Under pressure, body sweating, can you focus? I'll just sound like out your mouth, I'm the coldest. 어중남은 내 입안을 바꿀 텐데. Just close your eyes, breathe in a way. One look at it flash.
Hold up.
Give a big flash. You drop with a big splash. Do that. You know the thing. Wait, you know what's that? They want more than that. Don't stop and you tell. 머리도 can't touch that.
Wait, think it done. Think it done.
Whip,
Nice.
whip, flash. Whip, whip, flash. Whip, whip, flash. Whip, whip, flash.
No, we're the invisible girl. Hold on, we pick here.
Whip, flash. Whip, whip, flash. One look, give 'em flash.
Think and die. Thing dead. Get his ass. Nice. Come here, Howard. No, we survived. Oh, oh. The other one too. Nice.
Keep going.
Let's get out here. Nice. I'm gonna push up. Let's see if I can stagger these guys. Oh, that's not happening. Psych.
That ult again.
Fix my ass.
Oh no, you're actually the girl for that. No, that was insane.
So good.
Dude, I was like trying to chase him. I was about to like fly up there and I just saw you just dive bomb on him. It's like a WWE move.
I wanna take a ride on your disco stick.
Sadly, it turns out I didn't take it personal enough. We took a fat L and my performance was mostly mediocre, but I did see a flash of potential. On the offensive side, I got some real crucial picks that gave us some serious early momentum. Sadly, that burst of greatness went as fast as it came. I was 0-5 when it came to impactful ultimates, and looking back at it, my team up ability was being terribly misused. I went on to lose the very next game where we got absolutely stomped. The third game after that was starting off mostly the same, where we didn't even cap the first point. So in the second half, my pals requested that I swap the Punisher because he was the perfect swap at the time, so I relented for my buddies and we ended up dubbing up actually. But I was still unsatisfied, I still counted as an L in my book. So now we're heading to the fourth game, and at this point I was feeling very humbled. I was expecting this challenge to start off way more smoothly because my aim is something that I felt like I could always rely on. Luckily though, everything was about to fall into place.
Got one on the other? Fuck it. I died to the fucking wall.
Go crazy here. Nice.
Minute up top.
Nice. He's trying to touch. Wait, the portal's in the
Yeah,
portal.
they have their portal.
Oh wait, huge ult too.
Oh yeah! Oh, she ulted on the fucking point too. No way.
I did so ass that game.
And I didn't.
Shut up.
Hey, that's on you. You should suck my Psylocke earlier. And Tori.
Wait, did I?
Exactly.
We're here to hear it.
I was boosting you. I was like, it was just like,
Oh,
shut
to
up.
get me riled up?
Yeah, huh? Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
okay.
That's
That does
what I
work
was
on me.
Something else that gets me riled up is some good old immersive video game warfare, and Warthunder is that in peak form. Warthunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, so that means you get to do cool things like mid-air dogfights with fighter jets, all the way to experiencing over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, ships, and armored cars from even different major nations in the world, to even historically grounded vehicles from the 1920s and the like, and you get the fun of blowing those up too. So if you're a nerd like me, or just the type of dude that says hell yeah to these sorts of videos, try it out today. It's available now for free on PC, consoles, and even mobile devices all around. The immersion is no joke. The combat gets intense and then you just get sucked in by the realism of it all. The sounds, the details, the realistic graphics and combat put you right at the helm of the most powerful war machines of our time. Join in on a bustling community of over 70 million players in fun epic PvP battles today. There's even a game mode for everybody. They got arcade mode for those crazy over-the-top fighting that you'd only see in a Michael Bay movie. To simulator mode for the sweats who love game games on veteran difficulty or just hard mode, to realistic mode, which is a blend of the two for those who want to dabble in both. This one's my favorite because it's just the right amount of serious that make the silly moments hit harder. Not only is it game free, but it's heavily optimized so even your broke friends can play with you. And the recently new mobile version is as top notch as can be. So try Warthunder today. And for a limited time, if you sign up today using the links in the description or the pinned comment below, you'll even get an added massive bonus pack with things like extra premium vehicles and skins and even 7 days of free premium. So again, thank you so much to Warthunder for sponsoring this video. It really does work on me. I unironically have a dog brain. Anyways, that marks my first MVP on Psylocke early on in my 4th game, but it didn't come out without its fair share of mistakes. I did decent overall, but for example on the attacking side, I had a really strong start, but I ended up slowing down majorly during that second point where we ended up just getting stuck on. My impact got snuffed out, I couldn't get the ball rolling anymore, and I couldn't do anything to help the team. Rewatching it, my most glaring issues from this game boils down to 2 things. For my cooldowns, for example, there would be times where I used my invisible jutsu to get close for a flank or like an assassination, but I wasn't really mindful and keeping track of my dashes. There would be times where I respawn and I'd use all my abilities to get back to the fight quick, but by the time I show up, I'm just on a constant loop of just recycling depleted cooldowns. I wasn't being disciplined, and I can make a really inappropriate Cartman joke, but I will refrain. And it's not my fault that you did it in your own head. And on the other hand, my damage output on Psylocke was still awkward to say the least, but I was starting to get a feel for how to kill people better. I had this feeling that Psylocke had this certain technique or like a certain rhythm when it comes to her primary fire, but I hadn't pinpointed it yet. I knew the key to her true potential was in her right click, but I was still misusing it. But every now and then, I'd randomly just delete somebody from existence and I truly felt OP. Unfortunately, the tempo that I was looking for on her was still a bit of a ways away. My MVP match was but a flash in the pan because following it, I went on a miserable 1-4 run.
When all is said and done, tell me how to write this, tell me how to fight this war.
He's low, Joseph.
No, I'm terrible.
You didn't get him? It's hard to aim it there.
Like a broken robot, money
Hardcore's
back
one.
guarantee.
Oh my God, so nice. Push her dead.
But I'm not a criminal, I can be your next big thing. Look at what I've become. Silly little monster, should've just held my tongue.
At this point, I was for sure throwing my friend Zelo. When you're not being productive on a flanking character, it feels pretty damning. You have small windows to strike, and if you're not capitalizing on those small windows, it feels like your team is in a 5v6. At this point, the game session was over, and my friends and nephews all got off, but I was committed at forcing my hand at learning Psylocke, so I kept queuing. The half ended, but it's safe to say I was getting carried. El Capitan was hard carrying, and when it came down to it, a quarter of my kills were just ultimate kills. So I was pretty much still at a meager 6 kills when it came down to just normal shooting. At this point, I was so sick and tired of being mediocre. So since we're starting on defense, in the time that it took me to go all the way from the spawn room all the way to where we're supposed to be defending, I hopped on my phone, went to YouTube, and typed in Psylocke combos. And I stumbled on a YouTube short that changed everything. The YouTube short that I was talking about was a short by Duck Films TV where he talked about Psylocke's bread and butter combo, and it was frustratingly simple and easy. It's as simple as a left click followed by 2 right clicks, then you just completely air out your left click. Left, right, right, left. There's a rhythm that goes to it though that you gotta consider because Psylocke's primary fire, it comes in bursts, but once you get the rhythm down, it feels automatic. It becomes second nature once you get the hang of it. I already had a really decent idea on Psylocke's peaks and valleys when it came to her playstyle, but my biggest issue was I wasn't really assassinating like I felt like I should. I had an easier time taking out tanks than I did squishier targets. So once I got the hang of her primary fire, it was all up from there. Finally felt activated on Psylocke. Now that I felt like I knew how to kill people, everything just clicked. I was confident that I knew how to have impact when it came to her playstyle, except I was just missing one key component towards the execution. And the results came pouring in once I figured that out. On top of that, I had my nephews, who are Psylocke mains in their own right, putting me on game while we played.
Bro, Joseph, I know a spot. Come over here. Follow me. Right now, right now. You gotta be sneaky, bro. They can hear your ass. I do this all the time. I always get one. Always.
Let me see.
They forget about you, and then you can get another. You just hide right here. Once they like get to like here where they can't see you, you at least try to like, you sneak up to them. They be hearing my ass. You gotta go invisible.
Okay. I got 2 healers.
Nice.
Wait, no, you couldn't. He ulted me. Bro, I saw you floating in the sky just slowly.
Bro, I would fuck them up, man. I don't reload. Watch this fucking Iron Man beam. I'm about to die.
Hard though. Oh wait.
Oh, we gotta pick. Alright.
We can go with this. Iron Man does shit too. Never mind, he's getting healed like crazy. I'm gonna see if I can assassinate him. I'm behind him.
You have to fly up to him first.
I'll fly up to him first? Oh yeah, point blank.
Yeah,
I'll try that. Oh, you're so right.
Oh yeah, once I got the rhythm down, it was smooth sailing from there. I was barely on game 16, but my record was at a lackluster 8-7. But I felt a perfect storm brewing. Can I steal that kiss?
No, I want that one.
Nah, the Warlock's funny for that. Oh wait, there's a guy behind you guys. Who's that behind you? Oh, it's a Rocket versus Rocket. Finish him off. Nice. Whoa, this guy's beating man. Oh, he's got flipped over on his...
Look at him, he just leapt out.
Hey, we gotta stay on point. No fucking way.
Oh my god, they see 9.
Bro, that fucking Adam res.
Bro, I was trying, bro.
That shit was clean.
I end this half as ace, and my confidence on Psylocke is at an all-time high. This game was especially fun because I felt like a bully. I felt like I was making the Rocket's life miserable, and that brought me an insane amount of joy. I promise you, my biscuit was fully buttered. Something else of note is that these ultimate cancels were not on purpose. I completely fat-fingered it both times, and honestly, up to this point, I didn't even know you could cancel it. I almost even threw on the last one on the last point also, but luckily my team of chill-ass dudes came in clutch. So now we're jumping over to defense, and with my newfound confidence, I was ready to start putting up some Kobe numbers. I was really locked in on that Mamba mentality.
Dead, I'm dead.
I'm ulting 3, 2, 1.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
So that marked my 20th game on Psylocke, so it was about time I revisited my earlier conundrum. And that's the question of my identity as a Psylocke player. Black Panther, for example, is pretty much a strict flanker. He's a true backline hero, wreaking havoc on support and DPS players alike. Whereas on my Magic playthrough, I came to the realization that she's more of a brawler. She can hang strong with the tanks and sustain herself while picking off anybody who steps out of line. They're both on opposite sides of the spectrum in my opinion. And right in the middle, in the Goldilocks zone, is Psylocke. When it came to Psylocke, I realized that she's quite literally the best of both worlds. She's a true Swiss Army knife. For example, Magic can find value in flanking, but it's not her strong suit. And the same goes for BP, albeit in reverse. He can dice up some tanks, but he's much more suited for flanking and being a menace. Psylocke, on the other hand, is equally efficient in both. Although she's not going to slam through a shield tank and take some poor duelist lunch money like Magic is, or she's not going to be taking out an entire backline in the blink of an eye like Black Panther can, but she most certainly can appear from the shadows to snuff out a healer and be gone before you realize it. And on the front end of things, she can really pump some serious damage into tanks if they overstep. She's got the abilities and the speed to flank and get in and out safely, while also having the damage to support your tanks in team fights. So to answer the question on what Psylocke's identity is, the answer that I found was pressure. Psylocke should simply be pressure. Whether it's on the tanks, DPS, or healers, you gotta just apply pressure and contest. When pressuring tanks, your dashes can help you get verticality and some off angles to pump some damage from places that they can't really have an answer to. If they rise to meet your pressure, your other dash or your invisibility gets you away safely. When pressuring duelists or just taking a 1v1 with a duelist, your dash and your quickness can really break some ankles, making it impossible for them to aim at you. When pressuring the supports, you always want to reserve an ability or two for a getaway. Now, after 100 matches, I preferred using the invisibility as my main getaway tactic, but sometimes you're going to want to use your invisibility to get close to guarantee a kill, and that's when your dashes come in. Starting in 2.5, her invisibility is going to be nerfed from 3 seconds to 2, and I personally don't think that'll affect her that much. That's because most of the time, if you juggle your cooldowns okay enough, by the time those 2 seconds are up, your dash should be back to help you get away. 2 seconds is more than enough time. But the important thing is that you want to get close because Psylocke has a really drastic damage fall off. She's at her most lethal at point blank, kind of like a shotgun user. So finding a way to get up close and personal is the best way to get kills on Psylocke. The true key to your damage is in the right click. When I first tried Psylocke, I completely overthought the right click. People were saying that it can go through other people's targets and bring me health back, and I was just completely overwhelmed and I was just trying to do too much with it early. The bread and butter combo that I talked about earlier that I learned from Doug Films TV was all I needed. Your right click is your shurikens. You toss out 5 of them and they apply 8 damage a pop. So if you land them all, that's doing 40 damage. And what's cool about this ability is that when you bring them back, it deals more damage than the initial hit. This is what got nerfed in 2.5. Each one used to hit for 14, but it got reduced to 12. So instead of a max possible damage of 70, now you're gonna max out at 60. It's not that crazy of a change. Another cool thing is that if you tag somebody with your shuriken, it can also give you health. Each shuriken that you land, it gives you 10 health, so that's a max of 50 extra HP. So that's the right click of the combo. Now her left click operates like a burst fire. It's only 2 bursts, but each burst is 4 bullets doing 12 damage a pop. So I remember when I talked about earlier when it came to rhythm, when you left click on Psylocke, it goes bop bop, and each bop is 48 damage, so if you hit them both, that's 96 damage in total. So if you put the bread and butter combo together, that's left click, 96 damage, followed by the right click, that together does 100 damage, followed by another right click, that's upwards to 96 damage, all equating up to a max possible 292 damage in a short quick burst. But that's if you hit them all. Still though, that's really insane for such a quick burst. The only thing that you gotta really worry about is the rhythm of it. On the second bop bop, that's when you right click and bring it back instantly, and then you just keep left clicking from then on. Things start to get real freaky once you include her Emma Frost team up in the combo. That's the other thing that got nerfed. Whereas before your clone did 30% of your full damage, now it's going to do 20%. So before the full combo with the clone would add an extra 90 damage, it's going to get reduced to 58.4 damage. That's a hefty amount, but you still have the chance to output a max possible damage of 350, which is still solid. Additionally, her dash does 50 damage a pop, so you can use those to finish people off if you whiffed a little bit. Her dash also automatically retracts her shurikens, so I saw combos that people did where you dash right after the initial right click, but I didn't find it too practical. Personally, I like using your dashes to get away because it's just much more useful in my opinion. I won't get too technical with the combos and all that because I truly believe this is all you need. Don't overcomplicate the right click when starting off. Once you get comfortable, you can experiment with damaging different heroes and all that, but I fared just fine with just the bread and butter combo. And if you don't believe me, well, it'll be easier to just show you.
Nice, I love it. Nice. Venom. Nice.
At this point of the challenge, you'd be hard pressed to find a game where I didn't end up with the most final hits. I also felt like I finally cracked her code when it came to her ultimate. Early on in the challenge, the value that I'd get from her ultimate was minimal at best. Most of the time, I'd end up just cleaning up kills, or if I got lucky, I'd get like a single support kill. Worst case scenario, a lot of the times nobody died because they'd either pop an ultimate or Loki lamps, or they would just patty cake and there'd be too many people stacked on each other where I just couldn't do enough damage to kill anybody. But now I had a really strong feel for which moments her ultimate would yield the best results. Since most of the time I had an Emma Frost on my team because everybody loves playing her right now, I found that chaining my ultimate with hers was an S tier play. For example, my nephew is pretty much an Emma Frost main now, and we spam this like crazy, and it worked almost every single time. The supports end up getting mind freaked by the snow bunny, so if I position myself close to the supports, I can kill them before they're even allowed to react. On top of that, I was getting a really strong read on what she counters and what counters her, which is something we're gonna go over in part 4 in better detail. So far, I felt like there isn't really anything that truly counters her, and what cemented that belief was the fact that I just kept popping off.
Ting. Got this. Wait.
I fucked up. But maybe we can cute. I respect that. That's just so for real. Oh my god, I fucking tripped you there. Rockets won. Dude. I got him. Ow, ow, ow.
Always up and down. 생각도 생각, spinning round and round, changing my mind. 세상이 더 그렇지 이런 헛소리. How it's supposed to be? 그만해 cause it's clear. It's like fighting an apple.
Boston, fight yourself over here, me. Boston's over here by yourself, no deals. Oh my god, I can kill so fast. Psylocke shreds things.
Yeah, don't you know how sweet it tastes? Yeah, don't you know how sweet it tastes? Now that I'm without you, 난 더는 묻지 않을래. 알려주지 않아도 돼. Now don't you know how sweet it tastes? Now that I'm without you.
What's the real?
Nothing get difficult, so I've been praying so hard for a miracle. 부르고서 나의 이름을 너는 알았던.
Wait, I could.
Scrolling 1,000 times 다 알고 있어 뻔한 수정일 뿐이야. 완전 쉬운 공식이야. It's like fighting an apple.
Got you, coward.
And don't you know how sweet it tastes? Yeah, don't you know how sweet it tastes? Yeah, don't you know how sweet it tastes? Now that I'm without you, 나 너는 묻지 않을래.
I'm just getting focused. I got him. Oh wait, this ult might be huge. This ult's huge. This ult was massive.
Why don't you know how sweet it tastes? Now that I'm without you.
That one was massive. Oh, that was so clean.
I know, right? I'm crazy like that. I've been watching those Nike videos.
Nice. You have been. I can tell. It shows. That was so clutch. Move, badass. That was fucking crazy. Nah, Junior, you clutched up so hard. That was 10 out of 10. Try to bite time. Wait, let him touch. Let him touch. Portal, portal, portal. He's touching. Wait, Junior. Clutching again.
Always clutch.
Wait, nah, Junior, you might be the... Oh, wait. Wait, nah, Junior.
Actually so good.
Nah, Junior.
They call me their goat for a reason.
Rocket staggered. Wait, that's actually GG's.
Nah, they have enough time. They have enough time. Yeah, they have enough time. They have enough
Punisher's
time.
pushing us though.
That freeze was god tier.
Yeah, good
Thank you for the
shit.
carry.
Nah, we won again, Junior. Nah, that's on you. Shout out to the real MVP of the match, my nephew Junior, for those 2 insanely clutch plays. Good stuff, buddy. Anyways, I was on a rampage on Psylocke. My stats climbed to the point where I was getting target banned a bunch. What? Nah, what? This is the worst day of my life. This is the first hero I've played in my 100 game challenges arc where I didn't get bored after spamming 50 games of the same character because I was having so much fun on her. It felt like no matter what the team needed, I could always plug in the gaps with Psylocke. If the enemy supports for staying alive for too long, I just went on a flanky poo. If there is an Iron Man just being a huge nuisance in the sky, I could still beam him with the Fear My Glock method. If the tanks were having free reign, I could just be a little wasp buzzing around, chunking at their health. I was on fire. I'm barely a little over halfway of the challenge, and I can already say with full confidence
confidence. If there was a single hero I could main for the rest of my playthrough on Marvel Rivals, I would easily pick Psylocke. I was practically clip farming in these ranked games. Unfortunately, I can't show all the clips in games because the video is getting a little bit too long, so let's try to crunch in that final stretch of games.
Oh, he runs right here. He's an absolute maniac. He's belling.
Now closing in on the final few games, even my movement on Psylocke felt insane. My dash usage especially felt as clean as it was deadly. I was at the point where I was practically pulling off Black Panther combos, and this game showcases it perfectly.
hundo. So that marks a big 100 games, and on top of that, my stats were so good that I ended up getting my Lord icon on my 99th game. And that's pretty nuts considering out of every single one of my challenges, never have I ever gotten the Lord icon in that 100 game window. So it really goes to show how good I was doing. Granted, my win-loss is still at a measly 50%, but that's bound to happen when I just spam a bunch of solo queues for a good chunk of it. It didn't matter how well I played, sometimes I still just took an L. Anyways, let's break down everything I learned in my last 100 games on Psylocke. So this is a segment where I break down how I like to play Psylocke. I'm going to be covering key aspects such as what counters Psylocke, all the way to what you counter. I got a cool idea from a comment on the past video, so I wanted to take this time to compare my level 100 Psylocke back to my level 1. If you remember, back in my first game, I lacked identity, firepower, and tempo. On the defensive side, for example, not once on a flank did I come away with killing a healer without any help. Whereas later on, I got so comfortable flanking that I was effortlessly wiping out support players on back-to-back lives. Even when they ran triple support, I was still wiping them clean. When it came to shooting people in the first game, I had an embarrassing low TTK. That just means time to kill. My rhythm on my primary fire was always interrupted by me spamming the right click at random moments, so I would literally have to have somebody webbed up for me to get a kill, because if they just moved a little bit, there was no way I was going to do anything aside from tickle them. Every flank I had ended in disaster. I just couldn't kill. When it came to my ultimate, it was just as pitiful. In the first couple games, I would just air out that thing as soon as I was around people, whereas now I don't pop it unless I meet certain conditions. The first being, I don't pop it unless I know for certain they don't have a support ultimate ready to respond to it. This can change if I have a teammate with a better ultimate, because if that's the case, I'm more than happy just using mine to bait out a support ultimate. But very seldom is the case though, because I like kills. And for 2, I would always look out to try to isolate the support players with it. If I see that there's a noticeable gap between their tanks and the supports, that's usually the best time to strike. And if that condition is met, that would lead me to the 3rd, and that's that I wouldn't pop it without first dealing a decent sort of damage to the supports first. I always like getting at least one support to at least half HP or lower, because each hit of my ultimate does 150 damage. So if I can one-shot them early, they aren't going to be able to patty cake and heal each other and try to survive in it. This ended up being my favorite way of using your ultimate. Just watch out though, you don't die before you pop it. Early on, her dashes were pretty much one-dimensional to me. I would mostly always use it to just back up, but now I know that her dashes have a multitude of different uses for them. I still mostly always use it to fall back, or just to kind of keep myself alive, or just get really good off angles, but I ended up getting really comfortable when I saw, for example, that somebody was low HP, because I can just dash at them and finish them off. I found out that a better getaway is always going to be the invisible mode though, but you can also use it to chase people, because when you go invisible, it gives you a speed boost. My defense was horrid in the first game, and my attack side fared a bit better, but I had one massive issue that I didn't recognize at first, and that's that I was playing like a Weenie Hut Jr. I placed virtually zero real pressure on the enemy team supports, and that's probably why we lost. Once I got really situated and comfortable doing damage on Psylocke though, that's when I got more comfortable going for high risk, high reward plays. That's when I would pretty much just flash step in their face, assassinate a support player, and just dash away before they can even react. Psylocke can fit many roles, but it really does help knowing which role that you have to fill. With that being said, now we're going to go over the matchups, and I want to break this down using a tier list. There's 4 tiers of varying difficulties, and we're going to start off with the hard tier, because in my opinion, I think there's only one true hard mega counter to Psylocke, and that's a good Johnny Storm. He can be super oppressive by just hovering over the healers and just damaging you, and he can just slam on you the second he sees you, and if you just try to kill him out the air, he can always just get away and get his health back, which is super frustrating. Aside from him though, everything else just has varying difficulties, but I don't think any of it truly counters Psylocke. For example, next up is Loki. A good Loki can be really sneaky and sly, just making it super hard for you to pin him down. Your best bet at taking him out is going to be just barrel stuffing him and hitting him with a fast combo when he's distracted. Something else that makes him really annoying is that he has runes that can completely negate your ult, and that's just a regular ability. He's easily the best strategist to play against a Psylocke. And next, Mr. Fantastic can be a nuisance if he plays to protect his supports. His booty bump slows you down, and he can keep pulling you back, making it easier for his team to punish you. He has solid health and good peeling. He's probably the next best duelist to swap to if there's a Psylocke on the loose. Now we move on to the next tier, and these are all heroes that'll give you some trouble. Hulk has a spit loogie thing that can freeze you, and a bubble that can consistently counter you if he's locked in. But very rarely do you run into that sort of Hulk. Aside from that, he's pretty easy to kill. Next up is Bucky, and he can be really hard to win a 1v1 against you because his healing will always outdo yours. The next three are another Psylocke, Iron Fist, and Star-Lord. These guys got the mobility to contest you and punish any mistakes you might make. Next is the Moore because he's a solid anti-dive and he can just make it harder to flank. After that is Penny because of her abundance of webs. If she lands one, you're 100% dying. Jeff is Jeff. The Met tier is just heroes that don't really matter. Majority of the time, you'll have an easier time killing them than they do you, but they all have something in their kit to give you trouble. Finally is the Bully tier. These are the heroes that I find insanely easy to kill. What they all share is that they have little to no real mobility. They're like static, stationary heroes. The only exception is Iron Man, but with the Fear My Glock method, he's insanely easy to put down. I think you're 100% throwing if you're forcing these heroes against a good Psylocke. For example, Storm just floats and has no mobility or overheal. Moon Knight is easy pickings because he's usually just posted up and just doing that slow ass Batman glide. Squirrel Girl's only mobility just lets her go up, but most of the time she's just static. She can nut you, but that's going to be really hard because you're just so fast. Next are the snipers, and you can easily break these guys' ankles and take their lunch money. Punisher is another stationary guy that'll just get diced up by you. And Warlock is pretty much the same thing. He's easy pickings, especially when he doesn't have his soul bond. All in all, Psylocke is an extremely valid hero to main. I know for a fact, starting now, she's going to be one of mine. If you pair her with a dive tank who can cause some ruckus and get like the brunt of the attention while you just sneak by and just assassinate anybody who strays off a little bit too far, you're going to have some really easy games. Overall, I don't think Psylocke has any true hard counters that she can't work around. Human Torch as it stands is probably the biggest counter, but he's banned most of the time, so you don't have to worry about that, and he's pretty much a counter to everybody. And he's getting nerfed soon, so Psylocke stocks are going up. Now with that being wrapped up, really quick, don't forget to sign up and play at Warthunder today using the links below so you don't miss out on some free extra content. And thank you again to Warthunder for sponsoring this video. Real quick giveaway alert, if you made it this far, here's your chance at winning a free skin. My birthday is on the 23rd, so to celebrate, I'm spending money on 4 of you guys. Thank you so much for the support.